What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video I'm bringing you the third in the Void trifecta of Warlock exotics, and that is the Briarbinds build. Yes, technically nothing manacles or secant filaments are also Void based Warlock exotics, but the big three are Controverse Hold, Nezarec Sin, and Briarbinds. So I've been running this build for a while. I even did some solo play with it last season in Birthplace of the Vile, but obviously there was no artifact mods around Void last season, so I wanted to wait until it was very strong, and this season I'm happy to say it is. So I took it through the Liminality Strike in a fire team, but took it through nonetheless, and it was very, very good. If you're more of a passive player, then this build will be for you. And if you don't know what Briarbinds does, it's got the armor perk One with the Void. Your Void Souls have a longer duration. They also gain escalating damage and durability as they defeat targets. You can retrieve your Void Souls by interacting with them, allowing them to be redeployed. So you can have like 3 or 4 souls on the field if you just keep picking them up and redeploying them. So kind of the more enemies that are around, the better this build does. And I did take it through just a regular like Echoes Battleground, and it's complete overkill for that. You can't really even get your Void Souls out, and then they just kind of kill everything instantly. Collective Obligation rolls through everything. This is definitely tailored towards like Grandmaster Nightfalls and stuff. So let's walk you through the build. Nova Bomb Cataclysm, it's got good single target damage and ad clear, so that's what I run, but you could run whatever super you want. Healing Rift is what I prefer. And Child of the Old Gods actually works 2 different ways with Healing Rift or with Empowering Rift. So it'll actually give you health back on an Empowering Rift, and Healing Rift, it gives you ability energy. So it says cast your Rift to create a Void Soul. When you damage a target with a weapon, your Void Soul flies to them and drains them, doing damage and weakening them. So it applies Weaken, which is obviously very strong, a 15% debuff. When a target is being drained, you are granted grenade and melee energy if on Healing Rift, or health if on Empowering Rift. Defeating a target who is being drained by your Void Soul grants class ability energy. So this whole build is centered basically around cast your Healing Rift, send it out to the enemies, and then it will just deal passive damage to them. And I've talked in many videos about how strong damage over time effects are, because you can deal damage from cover, so it's really great for staying alive. The other thing we want is Devour. Defeat a target with a Void ability activates Devour. Your Devour effects are improved, restoring additional health and grenade energy. So you get grenade energy back, you get your health restored on kill with Devour, and the Child of the Old Gods can proc Devour because it is technically an ability. So very, very good synergy here. I run Suppressor Grenade, and basically, this allows us to suppress targets, which is really good in the Liminality Strike. There is one clip where, because I have Collective Obligation on, I'm able to spread suppression, and the Centurions that are normally very annoying, they just can't attack you. And there's lots of like deadly yellow bars in this strike, so being able to just suppress everything and keep it from shooting you is very, very strong. And it's not just strong in Liminality. Suppression is a very, very good effect anywhere in the game. And then with Devour, we're getting lots of grenades back. So yeah, it just feeds you more suppressor grenades. And then let's look at the fragments. We've got Echo of Expulsion. Void ability final blows cause targets to explode. So if your Child of the Old God gets a kill, it's going to cause an explosion, which deals damage and can kill more enemies. Echo of Harvest. Defeating weakened targets creates an Orb of Power and a Void Breach. So there is a cooldown on this, but basically with all the Void Souls that we have going out, everything's going to be weakened. We're going to be creating a ton of Void Breaches and making a ton of Orbs of Power. And then Void Breaches will grant us class ability energy, so we can cast our Rift again, send out another Child of the Old God, and just keep the loop going. Echo of Instability. Defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your Void weapons. This one you could change out for something else if you want. I'm running it because, like I said, I'm running Collective Obligation, so I want to be able to get volatile, weaken, and suppression. So that's why we've got that on. So if you didn't want Echo of Instability, You could maybe run Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you, Invisibility, Overshield, and Devour, have increased duration. So longer Devour, longer Overshield, which I'll get to the Overshield in a minute, but that would be very, very strong. As again, especially because if you don't have Collective Obligation, you don't necessarily need Echo of Instability, so Persistence could be really good. And then another fragment that is very, very strong is Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants Devour. So it's pretty easy to get Devour with Feed the Void, but if you just wanted more ways to get Devour, then you could go with Echo of Starvation. Again, we're making a ton of orbs with Echo of Harvest, so this would just be giving us Devour pretty much every time we pick up an orb, and we could extend it with Echo of Persistence like I talked about. So there's a few ways you can go within the fragments. Onto weapons, we're going to start in the energy slot, and like I said, I have Collective Obligation, and that is so that I can spread Suppression, Weaken, and Volatile, which is really, really strong, especially in high-end content. I did a dedicated video to this gun. I did a solo Glassway run with Titan with the Second Chance Gauntlets in this gun, so I've showed it off a lot. But yeah, it's very, very good. If you didn't have that, then Graviton Lance is an exceptional other option to use. I showed that in my Controverse Hold build. I love Graviton Lance, so if you don't have Collective Obligation, you could run Grav Lance. Buried Bloodline is also extremely strong this season for obvious reasons, but again, not everyone is going to have a raid or dungeon exotic. In the heavy slot, again, I'm sticking with Void with the Hammerhead Machine Gun. Whatever your role is, you can run what you like. I like Fourth Times in Desperate Measures because Fourth Times the Charm is giving us free ammo, which is really nice on that Liminality boss. And then Desperate Measures isn't too hard to proc just by like getting a grenade or melee kill. And even if you just get a weapon kill, you can get 1 stack of Desperate Measures, which is a 10% bonus. But there's also like Killing Tally, there's Rampage, there's some really good perks on Hammerhead. And then the Call, I like Demolitionist Vorpal because I'm usually using it on champions because the rest of my build is kind of centered around ad clear. And then Demo is obviously feeding us more suppression grenades, which is really nice. This is helping us deal more damage to those high health targets, which is really strong. For mods on the helmet, we've got Double Harmonic Siphon so that we're getting Orbs of Power. Basically, when you have 2 Harmonic Siphons, it increases the potency of the generated orb, which is just going to give you more super energy. And then I've got Heavy Ammo Finder. Because I'm using an exotic primary, then we're going to be getting more ammo drops for a machine gun. And then as we get kills with our Void primary, we will be making lots and lots of orbs. On the gloves, I run Harmonic Loader just to reload our weapons faster. Bolstering Detonation grants class ability when you cause damage with a grenade. Focusing Strike grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a powered melee attack. So just feeding back into our class ability energy so we can cast more rifts, so we can send out more Void Souls and just keep our loop going. And then on the chest piece, just whatever resistances you need for the activity. On the boots, we have a Void Scavenger, so we pick up more machine gun ammo every time we get a brick, which is really nice, especially on the Finder bricks. Absolution, which reduces all our ability cooldowns each time we pick up an Orb of Power. And then I like Innervation to reduce my grenade cooldown each time we pick up an orb, but you could also run Insulation to reduce your class ability each time. But you definitely get a lot of class ability with this build. And then Powerful Attraction, just to suck up orbs that are around us when we cast our Rift. Distribution to reduce all our abilities when we cast our Rift near targets. And then Bomber to give us a chunk of grenade energy when we cast our Rift. Now onto the artifact mods. This is what's making this build really, really good this season. So for Collective Obligation, we have Anti-Barrier Pulse Rifle. For the Call Sidearm, we have Unstoppable Sidearm. Then we have Elemental Siphon. Rapid Final Blows with a weapon matching our equipped super create an elemental pickup that matches our equipped super. So again, we're just making more Void Breaches. When I tell you that this build makes a ton of Void Breaches, like seriously, it's constant. Counter Energy. When you or a member of your fire team stuns a champion, you gain energy for your least charge ability. Void Hegemony. This is the one that's very, very strong with this build. While you have a Void subclass equipped, defeating weakened targets provides a small Void overshield. So again, Child of the Old Gods is weakening everything. And then as we get kills with that, we're getting overshield. So extremely, extremely strong. Then Expanding Abyss, Void sources deal increased damage to weakened targets. So this takes our 15% weaken from Child of the Old Gods and makes it a 25% weaken to all Void sources. So our Collective Obligation will be dealing 25% more damage, Hammerhead dealing 25% more damage. Very, very, very good on this build. And then for the last artifact mod, Shield Crush, again, we get a Void Overshield, and then that's just going to charge our melee faster and deal increased damage. Even though the melee on Void kind of sucks, and I've talked about that a lot in the past, but yeah, Pocket Singularity, it's not very strong. It does apply Volatile, which is nice, especially for Collective Obligation. So anyways, it's just kind of the only one that has some synergy, but if you wanted to run a Sniper instead, then you could run like Sniper's Meditation if you wanted. But yeah, that's pretty much the build. Like I said, it's very, very strong. I guess I should also go over the stats. You want to spec into Resilience first, for sure. Then I like going Discipline, and then I put all the rest of my stats into Recovery just to reduce that Rift cooldown so that we can keep casting more and more Rifts. But however you want to do it. And I can get triple 100s on this build, but I do have Echo of Persistence, so that's -10 to Recovery. But again, I gave some other fragment options if you wanted better stats instead of like certain fragments. But like I said, I took this through Liminality. It was really strong. It's very good in all kinds of content where ads group up. So a lot of the new like battlegrounds and stuff, a lot of the like the Echoes seasonal activities, a lot of the enemies spawn in together. So if you get a Child of the Old Gods in there, they're just all going to be taking damage. You can mow through them with Void Weapon because Expanding Abyss is going to be making them hit extremely hard. And yeah, overall, this build is just very, very good. I've liked it for a long time, and I'm happy to finally be making a build breakdown of it. So anyways, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. And if you're still watching, then thanks so much for watching to the end. Take care.